You have probably lived through a moment like this. You send a message with genuine interest. You wait 10 minutes, 1 hour, a full day, nothing, no reply, not even a simple acknowledgement that you exist. And somehow, the more you try to keep the conversation alive, the faster it dies in your hands. Or maybe it happens at work. You take on extra tasks, stay late, try to be reliable. You say yes to everything because you hope someone will finally notice your effort. But when promotion season comes, the recognition goes to the person who was never the most hardworking, never the most available, and certainly never the most desperate to prove themselves. Or you have been the freelancer who lowers his price to win a client. You tell yourself it is only this time. You hope they will appreciate the discount or at least respect the effort. Instead, the opposite happens. They ask for more revisions, more changes, more favors. The more you offer, the less you are valued. Every man knows this feeling in some part of his life. The sinking sense that the harder you run toward something, the faster it slips away, and you start asking yourself a question that feels almost shameful. Why is it that the people who need the least seem to receive the most? Why do the ones who are not begging for attention, approval, or rewards end up being the ones who attract them naturally? It is easy to respond with a tired explanation, because life is unfair, because people are shallow, because good men finish last. But none of these answers actually explain the mechanics behind the paradox. They only soothe the ego for a moment. There is a more dangerous possibility, one that most people never consider. Maybe the issue is not you, maybe the issue is how you chase. And long before modern psychology existed, an ancient tradition had already seen this pattern with absolute clarity. It observed how everything in nature responds to pressure, force, and overreach, and it came to a single conclusion. The tighter you grip, the quicker things break. The more you pull, the more they resist. The more you chase, the more you lose. This is where the Taoist inversion begins. And once you understand it, everything about attraction, respect, opportunity, and human behavior starts to make sense. From the beginning, you were taught a simple rule. If you want something, you must try harder. If you fail, you must push more. If someone ignores you, you must prove yourself. It sounds noble, it sounds responsible, but somewhere along the way, the rule turns into a trap. Because no one teaches you that effort, when misplaced, becomes desperation. And desperation is something people instinctively pull away from. Look at the world you grew up in. Every industry depends on your sense of deficiency. Advertisements do not sell products. They sell the feeling that you are missing something. The right look, the right lifestyle, the right version of yourself. Once you believe you are lacking, you become easy to move. You chase trends, status, validation, not because you need them, but because you were conditioned to feel incomplete without them. The same mindset shapes modern dating. Pop culture praises the persistent man, the one who waits outside, tries again, and refuses to give up. It teaches you that effort leads to affection, but real life does not follow that script. The more you try to force attention, the more uncomfortable people feel. They sense pressure, not presence, obligation, not attraction, and nothing kills respect faster than the sense that someone needs you more than you need yourself. Work is no different. You are told to be available, helpful, dependable. You think saying yes to every request proves your worth. But in most environments, availability is not respected. Scarcity is. The people who rise are often not the ones doing the most. They are the ones who choose when to engage. They understand that attention is a currency, and they spend it carefully. Over time, you absorb the same message from every direction. If something does not work, try harder. If someone does not respond, push more. If life does not open the door, knock until your hands bleed. You begin to believe that chasing is not just necessary, but moral. But then a quiet doubt appears. If chasing truly worked, why do the people who chase the most often end up with the least? Why do the ones who seem calm, selective, and self-contained attract opportunities without forcing anything? That doubt matters. It is the first crack in the script you were given, and once it appears, you can finally see the truth. The world did not teach you to chase because it works. It taught you to chase because it keeps you predictable, exhausted, and easy to influence. And there is another way to live that does not require running after everything you want. Long before modern psychology existed, Taoist thinkers noticed something that most people still overlook today. They saw that everything in nature moves according to an invisible law. The more you force something to come toward you, the more it pushes away. And the more you allow it to flow naturally, the more it finds its way back. This idea appears in many forms throughout the Tao Te Ching. One of the most important lines is simple but brutal in its honesty. The movement of the Tao is reversal. In other words, when something reaches an extreme, it turns into its opposite. A bow pulled too tight snaps. A flame fed too aggressively suffocates itself. A relationship squeezed too hard loses its shape. Nothing in nature responds well to pressure that goes beyond its natural limit. This is the foundation of the Taoist Inversion Principle. The moment you chase too intensely, you do not move closer to what you want. You push it away. Taoism calls this misunderstanding of force the root of unnecessary suffering. People assume that more effort must mean more progress, but Taoist thinkers observed the opposite. When force becomes excessive, it no longer creates motion, it creates resistance. This is why the principle of Wu Wei is so counterintuitive. People hear the words and think it means doing nothing, but Wu Wei does not mean laziness. It means not interfering violently with the natural movement of things. It means acting without forcing, directing without gripping, allowing without collapsing. In the context of your life, it means you take the right action at the right moment with the right intention, and then you do not strangle the outcome. Another concept is Ziran, the idea of being as you naturally are. Taoists believed that nothing is more attractive, more stable, or more powerful than a person who does not need to perform. Someone who moves without pretending, speaks without rehearsing, and exists without begging for approval. People gravitate toward what feels real. They distance themselves from what feels manufactured. Ziran explains why the calm, self-contained person draws attention without effort. Taoism uses simple images to express these truths. Water does not fight for the highest place. It flows downward, yet it shapes mountains. A tree that is too perfectly useful gets cut down. The crooked tree that does not meet society's standards survives the longest. It is not trying to prove anything. That is why nothing threatens it. Behind all these metaphors is one core message. When you stop forcing, you stop breaking things. When you stop pulling, you stop tearing connections apart. When you stop chasing, you stop announcing that you are incomplete. And this is the point where ancient philosophy begins to merge with modern science. Because what Taoist thinkers observed in nature is the same dynamic that psychologists and neuroscientists observe in human behavior today. What Taoist thinkers observed thousands of years ago is now being confirmed by modern psychology and neuroscience. The idea that force creates resistance is not mystical, it is measurable. Human beings are wired to retreat the moment they sense pressure, expectation, or emotional demand. The first mechanism behind this is something psychologists call reactance. It is the instinctive pushback people feel when their freedom seems threatened. If someone tries too hard to influence your decision, your immediate reaction is not curiosity or openness, it is resistance. You pull away to reclaim your autonomy. Chasing triggers this instinct almost instantly. The more intensely you pursue someone's time, attention, or approval, the more you signal that you have already decided what they should feel. And their nervous system responds with a firm, no, even if they cannot explain why. Attachment theory adds another layer. People who fear rejection often chase the hardest. They over-explain, overshare, and over-pursue. But this behavior sends a very different message to others. Instead of communicating affection, it communicates instability. Instability activates screening mechanisms in the brain. When someone senses that you are not emotionally grounded, they step back to protect themselves. They do not want to be responsible for your self-worth. They do not want to manage your anxiety. Attraction becomes emotional labor, and emotional labor is not attractive. The science behind autonomy deepens this even further. Researchers have found that humans are drawn to people who respect their independence. Someone who does not pressure you, does not demand a specific response, and does not rush your pace feels safe. Safety is not boring. Safety is the foundation of real connection. When you stop chasing, you signal that you can handle the outcome, whatever it may be. That signal is interpreted as confidence, not indifference. Neuroscience explains the last piece. When you chase from a place of fear, your body releases stress hormones. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your tone changes. Even your facial expressions shift. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for clarity and good judgment, goes offline. You become less articulate, less composed, and less attuned. In contrast, people who remain calm activate a very different neural response in those around them. Their presence lowers threat signals. Their tone feels grounded. This is why humans instinctively gravitate toward calm individuals. Calmness reads as strength. The Taoist principles describe these same patterns without using scientific language. They simply noticed what happened when people overreached or over-pursued. They saw the collapse that follows excessive effort. They saw the natural power of someone who stays centered and lets things come toward them. Science has now given terms to what the Taoists described through metaphor, and together they reveal a simple truth. Attraction is not created through insistence. It is created through stability, autonomy, and presence. This is why chasing does not bring things closer. It pushes them away. And it is why stepping out of chase mode is not passive. It is strategic. It is the first step toward aligning yourself with how people actually respond, not how you wish they would. If chasing fails so consistently, you might wonder why so many people still do it. Why entire cultures encourage it. Why every piece of advice you grew up with seems to push you in that direction. It is not an accident. It is not a misunderstanding. It is a design. Modern society is built on a simple economic truth. People who feel insufficient spend more, work more, and compromise more. People who feel whole are harder to manipulate. So the system has every reason to keep you in a state of quiet hunger. Not starving, not desperate, just hungry enough to keep running. Consumer culture works by convincing you that you are one purchase away from being complete, from being respected, from being attractive, from finally being enough. But once you buy the thing, the feeling fades. So you chase the next version, the next upgrade, the next identity. In this loop, your attention is no longer yours. It belongs to the marketplace, and as long as you are chasing, you remain a predictable customer. The same logic applies to work. Companies benefit from employees who are afraid to lose their position. If you believe you must chase every opportunity, every project, every hint of approval, you will accept conditions that someone with self-possession would never tolerate. You become the worker who stays late, takes on more, and rarely pushes back. And because you are chasing security, you do not notice how much power you have surrendered in the process. Even social media thrives on your inability to stay still. It rewards the restless, the anxious, the ones who refresh for validation. Every notification is a small hit of approval. Every silence is a cue to chase more. The platform does not want you grounded. It wants you reactive. Because reactivity keeps you online. and online is where you are monetized. In a world designed this way, a person who does not chase becomes a disruption. Someone who does not need constant approval is hard to influence. Someone who does not need every opportunity is hard to pressure. Someone who defines their own value is impossible to control. That kind of person does not play the system's game. And ironically, that is the person the system cannot ignore. This is the hidden twist the Taoists understood long before algorithms were invented. The moment you stop letting the world pull your strings, the world loses its leverage over you. And when that leverage disappears, something unexpected happens. People start paying attention, not because you chase them, but because you no longer belong to the current that controls everyone else. In a world where everyone is running, there is something unsettling about a man who chooses not to. Not because he is lazy and not because he is indifferent, but because he understands the cost of chasing. He is not moved by every trend or every opportunity. He moves according to something quieter and stronger, his inner gravity. This kind of man does not fight for the spotlight. He does not need to broadcast his worth or compete for attention. When he enters a room, he brings a calm presence that changes the atmosphere without announcing itself. People lower their voice. They pay attention, not because he demands it, but because he does not leak desperation. He is centered, and that centering is felt before it is understood. Taoist philosophy describes this through simple images. The best leaders, it says, are barely noticed. They do not dominate through loudness or control. They guide by standing firmly in themselves. The crooked tree survives because it is not shaped for other people's use. Water has no ambition for the highest point, yet it wears down mountains over time. None of these forces strive. None of them chase. Their strength comes from alignment, not aggression. The Taoist man lives this principle in a modern world. He is not driven by the need to be impressive. He is driven by the desire to be real. He speaks when he has something to say, not when silence makes him nervous. He acts when action is needed, not when inaction makes him insecure. His value is not measured by how many people notice him, but by how difficult it is to shake him from himself. Competence is a part of his gravity as well. He does not chase success. He refines what he can control. Like Cook-Ding cutting through an ox without effort, he builds skill until mastery feels natural. When you reach that level, opportunities begin to look for you. People recommend you. Clients return. Work follows you, not because you shouted the loudest, but because your depth cannot be ignored. His relationships reflect the same pattern. He does not chase affection. He offers clarity, interest, and presence, then gives the other person room to respond freely. If they step forward, he welcomes it. If they step away, he lets them go. He does not collapse into self-doubt. He does not bargain for love. His self-respect is not for sale. The Taoist man is not a mystic hiding from the world. He is a man who has stopped outsourcing his worth. And in a culture built on noise, scarcity, and constant reaching, someone who stands still in himself becomes magnetic. This is the kind of man people trust. The kind they want near, the kind they remember. Not because he chases connection, but because he creates the space where connection can come to him. Understanding the Taoist principle is one thing. Living it is something else. Every part of modern life trains you to reach, insist, and overextend. Pulling back feels unnatural at first because most people have never operated from a place of inner stability. But there is a practical way to shift out of chase mode, a simple structure that anchors you when emotions start to drag you toward old patterns. Clarify, act, release. 3 movements that reshape every corner of your life. Start with clarity. Most people chase because they do not know what they truly want. They confuse loneliness with desire, insecurity with attraction, anxiety with ambition. Without clarity, every impulse feels urgent and every opportunity feels necessary. But when you know what you actually value, half the world stops being relevant. You no longer chase everything, you choose. And choosing is the opposite of chasing. After clarity comes action. Non-chase mode is not passive. It does not mean watching your life drift by. It means you take the right action without turning it into a performance. In relationships, it means you show interest clearly and once. You invite someone out. You express what you feel. You open the door. That is healthy action. But once the door is open, you do not build your identity around whether they walk through it. You do not text repeatedly to force momentum. You do not shrink yourself because you fear rejection. You act from self-respect, not from emotional scarcity. In work, the same pattern appears. You send the application, you pitch the idea. You create the product, then you step back. You do not check your email every 5 minutes. You do not chase every client. You do not stretch yourself thin to appear impressive. A man in non-chase mode builds depth in a few meaningful places instead of spreading himself across 100 shallow ones. People take him seriously because he takes himself seriously. He understands that attention is a finite resource, and he treats it as one. The final movement is release. This is the hardest part for most people. Release means you do not demand a specific outcome. You do not try to manipulate timing. You do not interpret silence as a personal attack. Release is not giving up. Release is trusting what your action already communicated. If the connection is right, if the opportunity aligns, it will move toward you. If not, you conserve your energy for what does. This three-part structure transforms your identity as well. Most people build their self-worth on feedback loops, likes, responses, validation, praise. But this creates a fragile identity that collapses the moment those signals disappear. Release breaks the loop. It returns ownership of your worth back to you. You stop negotiating it with the world. You stop begging to be seen. You stop trading your peace for someone's attention. When you apply this to every major area of life, something changes. You feel less noise inside. You stop rushing decisions that do not need to be rushed. You stop volunteering for battles that were never yours. You stop performing for people who are not looking. And as you pull away from chase mode, you notice a shift. You become more intentional, more selective, more calm. The space around you becomes clearer and people sense it. They lean in, not because you forced them to, but because they recognize the rare energy of someone who does not need to chase. Non-chase mode is not a trick. It is a discipline, a way of choosing presence over panic, alignment over impulse, depth over noise. And when you master it, you stop trying to drag life toward you. Life begins quietly and consistently to move in your direction. You have spent most of your life believing that progress requires pursuit, that wanting something means running toward it, that the only way to avoid losing is to hold on tighter. But now you have seen the other side of the equation. You have seen why pressure collapses connection, why force creates resistance, and why chasing works against the very things you want. So here is the final step, not another idea. A test. For the next 7 days, practice inversion. Whenever you feel the urge to chase, pause. When you want to send a second message because the first one did not get a reply, wait. When you feel tempted to defend yourself, explain yourself, or convince someone to see your value, speak once and stop. When you notice the impulse to refresh your notifications, let the silence breathe. These moments are not empty. They are data. They reveal where your old script still controls you. Pick one situation each day that normally triggers your chasing reflex. It can be small, a conversation, a request, a decision. Act clearly, honestly, and once. Then release the outcome. No bargaining, no frantic correction, no emotional micromanagement. Simply act and let the world respond on its own terms. The goal is not to win anyone back or to manipulate any result. The goal is to feel what it is like to hold your ground, to sense the difference between movement and desperation, between presence and pressure, between living from your center and living from your fear. The world you live in is designed to keep you running, but you do not have to participate. There is a quieter path, a steadier one, a path where you do not chase everything you want. You become someone worth moving toward. If this message challenged you, unsettled you, or made you recognize parts of yourself you have ignored, leave a comment and say, "I will test it." And subscribe for the next step in building a life with more gravity and less noise.